Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Let the Truth Be Told. We're really excited about our program today. We haven't been on in quite a while, and so we're really excited about today. Hey, I'd like to thank everybody that watched the program every Sunday night. They come back and say, "Sean, I watch you every Sunday night, man. Keep it up." Today we're going to have a special guest that's on with me. He's on the panel, a close friend of mine. I've been knowing since childhood. We branched off and went into the military around the same time, traveled overseas and did a lot of things in the military. And we think a lot from the training that we both received in the military. And when we balance it out with community, we both think on parallel on the same diaphragm when they talk about community. So introducing my guest, Herbert Burnett. I know his mom and dad, and we really just share a lot of things together. And so as we dialogue today, we're going to dialogue a lot about community. We're both in business. He's in business. I'm in business. He came back to Champaign a few years ago, and I kind of persuaded him to come back.
He sure did. He sure did.
And as he came back, we did a few community things together, and it's just been evolving ever since. He started doing some grassroots things and starting his business out. Was set up right back at the back of the shop. Came down here and set up some Obama t-shirts and ain't looked back. So always stay creative, always keep your mind on the prize, and it can all happen. It can go from small to big. So he's a prime example of that, and I'm really pleased and proud and honored to have him on the show with us tonight. So as we dialogue back and forth, you guys stay tuned in and stay focused, because we're gonna really key in on some key points that might be able to help you move forward in 2014. And saying Happy New Year to all you guys, and hopefully you guys have stayed true to your New Year's resolutions. And I know we spent a lot of time sharing with family during the Thanksgiving, Christmas season. And so as we move forward here, I want Mr. Burnett to go ahead and introduce himself and kind of tell the audience, how did you transition from military back to Champaign, and kind of where are you kind of at in business, and what's your business called?
Good morning, TV Land. Good evening, TV Land. My name is Herbert Burnett, and I own business Suits by Soldier, 1708 West Bradley. We also have a satellite building at 118 South Century in Rantoul, Illinois. And as Sean Force stated, I moved back here in 2008 and started selling Obama shirts and Obama's hats and Obama's pins right in this barber shop. And so I just appreciate your friendship, Sean. And again, we both were in the military, so we do think a lot. And discipline and character and teamwork are just some of the skills that we were taught by good old Uncle Sam. And I appreciate you bringing me on the show. And I tell people to live your dream in 2014 because life is short, and then you die. And so my personal motto for me in 2014 is to owe no man nothing but to love him.
Oh, okay. I can understand that. So, owe no man
nothing but to love him.
Nothing but to love him.
That's all.
And really and truly, Hub, and we got a little short, prefix that we use of his name, is just Hub, and that's what all the kids call him. He's a coach also he was coaching for Central School, and now he's over at Atlanta coaching. But saying to my friend Hub, that's all that life really that we owe life, is to just love on each other, and you shouldn't be a person that has debts all around, owe no man, and so I honor those principles, and those some good principles to live by. As we're both in business, and I was kind of writing my notes down earlier and trying to envision what this show would look like and what can we bring to the people. Being in business, and some of the things that's faltering in business, as I see it and we see it here in Champaign, I thought of a title for it, Champaign-Urbana African American Economic Redevelopment Process. Mm-hmm. And as we think about the process of redeveloping Black businesses here in our community, and I kind of went down to just the basics: who, what, when, and where, and why. And so we're going to go over some of those principles, some of those key points: who, what, when, where, and why. And so, but redeveloping. When we say redeveloping, it means something has already been developed. Now, whether we like it or not, it's already developed.
Amen.
And so whether we had it and it's gone or something, it's already been established somewhere. But in order for it to move forward and for it to prosper and to grow, we have to redevelop what we got going on here in Champaign-Urbana, because right now what we got ain't working. So what do you think about this, the title of the redevelopment, the process of redevelopment, and how does redevelopment look?
Well, you know what? When you mention redevelopment, the first thing I thought about is the mind, and it's a battle. It's a battle. It's a mental battle. You have to change the way people think. I used to tell my son, the world don't owe you nothing. You know, you think the world owe you something. The world don't owe you nothing. And I think that's why people's minds need to be developed, because they think the world owes them something. And this world will chew you up and spit you out. Mm-hmm. And so I think it needs to be it's a learned behavior. We need to reteach. I think it needs to come from every pulpit in the community, both black and white. It's nothing wrong with talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but you have to talk about economics. You have to talk about working. You have to talk about I've been coaching since I got out the military in 2006, and I caught heat earlier because my kids have always practiced at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the principal in Texas said, "Well, why you want to practice? You're pushing that military off on these kids." I said, "Where in the way I am?" I said, "Because they're 15, 16, 17 years old. The next 5 to 10 years, they're going to be adults. They're going to have families. They have to get out the bed. And so you have to teach these principles. And we have a whole generation of kids that don't understand these principles because we as adults have been asleep at the wheel for so long."
Okay. And you know, one of the areas that you brought up and you mentioned was preaching that across the pulpit. Mm-hmm. How important is that message that's being delivered, that particular service? How important is that to regurgitate how important business is to the congregation and to the members?
It's very important, because a church, whether you believe it or not, is a business, and you have to treat it as a business. But it's in the business of winning souls. And so you take that and translate it into the real world. You have to teach these kids that you have to get out there and work. And if the Bible says a man that don't work, don't eat. No grind, no shine. Okay. You know, people trying to go to the airport and fly, but they tickets say Greyhound. Man, them people gonna call the police on you. You can't fly with no Greyhound ticket. And so you trying to get something out the bank and you ain't putting nothing in the bank. It doesn't work like that.
You know, Hub, and me and you, we conversate a lot, you know. And so the ministry is so important because in this community, we don't have a lot of African-American businesses. We had a lot. We had 2 or 3 restaurants, 4 or 5 stores we can go to. We had a couple barber shops back in the day. We had 4 or 5 different social outlets to go to, but we don't have any of that anymore. We're down to just barber shops and maybe 1 restaurant here, and maybe even your clothing store, and maybe 1 other guy, and but we don't have a lot. So the process of redevelopment, I think, first of all, I love it when you said over the pulpit, because those are in alignment with godly principles. And those create an avenue for a person to be able to redevelopment with the right motives. And we talk a lot about your motives being pure. And so when we start to redeveloping our mindset on, hey, look, I want to start a business of my own, and we started on right principles, then I think that it cannot go anywhere but up and flourish, because people shop from whom they like. So it starts you with a great attitude. Amen. You got a great attitude when you're in your business. You got great principles. You talked about timeless. You talked about being there early. I deal with a lot of, I got on this barber shop, so I've dealt with a lot of barbers over the years. And one of the things that I try to instill in them is the reason why I was successful in being a barber. It wasn't that I was the best talented barber in town, I was the most available barber, and I was on time in the mornings. I was there 30 minutes early. We know in the military, they always say be 15 minutes early. Well, even in your barbershop business, you got to take it to another plateau because you're working off faith and you're working off the island of yourself. So I got to be 30 minutes early because I know I can't compare it to Tom, Dick, or Harry. It's Sean's business, and I gotta have that investment within my own business. And so that's one of the things that we take. But when we talk about
let me interject real quick. Consistency is pertinent in any organization, especially in leadership. You have to be consistent because if you're not consistent, people don't know who they're dealing with. I used to tell my kids, if you're on time, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late, and if you're late, you're selfish. That's what I used to tell my soldiers. Be here 15 minutes prior, ready to go. Get your mind right. We're training for war. Your mind got to be right in war. Make sure you take care of the things that you need to take care of. The Bible speaks a lot about the mind, about renewing your mind. You know, the battle is in the mind. Your biggest enemy is your enemy. I feel my help coming on. I'm going to leave that alone. But we need to understand how important the pulpit is for us as the black community. That's the only thing we ever own. I know Oprah got a lot of money. I know Jordan got a lot of money, but they ain't got no old money. The only thing we've ever owned is the church. That's the only thing we ever owned is the church. Back in the days of Mississippi and back, even as far back as slavery, the only thing we ever owned. So the power of the mic is powerful. And we have to be able to teach, not entertain, but teach people to be better, not bitter. And so, and every Sunday, and if you're really good, Wednesday night, you have a captive audience every week. And so you have to take advantage of that. You can't take that lightly. And that's the way you're going to change our situation. You got to change the mindset of the people so they'll understand that if you steal, you go to jail. You got to go get your job. And you can't wait till 3 o'clock in the afternoon to go get your job. You got to get up early. The early bird gets the worm.
Well, you know, one of the things that you mentioned was the power of the mic. One thing I used to do back in the day, I used to DJ. I used to throw parties out. I used to hire my own DJs and do parties. I had teamed up with one of my buddies, but he didn't like that I used to advertise my barbershop lick through his parties. So what it taught me when I seen him starting to hate, what it taught me is that he had already put me through the training. So I went through the training and I found out the fundamentals of how we get this here going. You know, I did enough crate toting, I did enough turntable toting that I found out how the process was, because that's just the leader's state of mind, is to look at the dynamics and how the chemical makeup of whatever business that I walk into. So what I did is I teamed up with his protege. I started throwing my own. I found out that the power of the mic, once I told them people, hey man, we got touchdown cuts tomorrow morning. You know, anybody that hit us here got a $5 haircut. I'm over at Whoop Wop the Band. And then we have a soup line. I found out that mic was powerful, and what you said with using that pulpit, that mic is very powerful.
It's very powerful.
So you can lead people.
That's right. That's right.
You can lead them and let them drink.
That's right.
Teach them how to fish.
That's right.
They can start to become fishermen of their own.
Or you can fool them and have them in bondage. You said something was so powerful. You said when you was working with this guy, you was carrying the crates. See, you didn't come in trying to be the man.
Oh no.
You serve your way into your position. Some of these young people, they want to be at the top. They want to drive a brand new car right away. They want to drive the same car their mama driving, and she been working for 30 years. You got to pay your dues. Before they were called the 12 apostles, they was the 12 disciples. And disciple means student of. So we have to rethink the way we are discipling these kids.
That's right. That's right.
And it used to be 15 or 16. It's 10 or 11 now.
Yeah, and what you just said was so true. You know, I mean, young people. I just talked to a young man the other day. He said, "Hey, Sean, man, I want to get a car like yours." You know, but he don't remember when I had the hoopty. I had a hoopty that used to stop on me. That I learned how to check the transmission fluid. I learned how to check the oil on. I learned what a new battery costs. You know, I mean, I learned how to put my own tire, fix my own flat. A lot of these young kids don't know that. Because they want to start at the top. You got to work your way in. when I'm being a servant, first, when business is one thing, but serving to the community is something totally different. That kind of segue into business, you know, because the check gonna come at the end of the road, but it's serving first. You got to be willing to serve first, and that's what happens with a lot of leadership is that everybody want to be served, but they don't want to serve.
Well, ironically, everything leads back to the military for me because it changed my life. I could have did 20 years in penitentiary, but God saw fit for me to do 20 years in the military. You know, but I got a lot of friends who are still near and dear to my heart. But the truth is, they've been in and out of prison. So I thank God. I'm a big fan of the military. You know, and the military. Once I got in there and got my foundation, I did start going to college. But at the age of 18, 19, 20, I wasn't ready for college. But one of the things that you said is that in the military, the higher you go up, the more people you're responsible for. So in 2004, when I took that trip over to Iraq, Baghdad, Iraq, I had 49 people depending on me. 47 because I came back with 48, but that's another story. But I had 47 people depending on me to come back. And so when we had to go on those convoys, I was a head man. I could have gave out orders and told them, y'all go on the most dangerous 6 miles highway in the world. But you know what? I had to lead from the front. And leaders have to understand that you're serving. Those people don't work for you. President Obama has a whole lot of millions of people that he works for. Not they work for him. In leadership, you're the servant. And our best example of that is Jesus Christ.
When he washing feet. He washing feet.
Sean, my dad is one of the few pastors in town that I know wash feet. I'm not saying he's the only. But one thing I learned when I was with him early in my ministry, man, I didn't like this guy, man. One time I washed his feet and I couldn't say nothing else bad about him. Because when a man washes your feet, you can't talk bad about it, especially when you got them bunions and corns like I do. So it's a humility in girding up that towel and washing another brother's feet.
And you know, it's a personal experience for the person that's washing the feet. It's a humbleness that come among them that will even break down to do something like that.
Yes, sir.
Because most of us they got too good.
Yes, sir.
We too good to do
sir.
that.
Yes, sir.
We too good to wash dishes.
Yes, sir.
We too good to go here and go there.
Sir.
You know, we too good to come in the hood.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of our membership don't look the way it could look because we too good to reach down and grab those that's less fortunate than that. And so that's why we don't get the success that we so desire. We don't get that successful feel. We might get it on some dollars, but we don't have that feel where it's an overall 360. It already reaches all the way around. Because we know some brothers that's successful, but do they feel successful?
Well, they're happy, but they don't have joy.
Yeah. Do they? It's not a full circle or full joyfulness that we think about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so,
yes, sir.
you know, one of the things that you mentioned is about about how to redevelop and redevelop that mindset. So when I thought about that, I thought about the children of Israel and how they watched all the wonders that Jesus had done and God had done for them. That God had done for them. That God had done for them. You know, the Red Sea, watched all the plagues and got them out of bondage where they were at. Okay, and then took them to the wilderness. Took them out. Took them on. Sent some bogus scouts out. They come back. They mess their whole mindset up. And forgive me about the story because I'm not a minister, but I'm a good listener and I'm a good person that
Johnson doing his thing over there.
He doing his thing, man. He doing his thing because I've been paying attention right now. And so as he tells the story and as he lead back, he sent those bogus scouts out there. They come back and put fear on the people. How could you fear a forward faith movement when you just seen all this success that didn't happen? So then what God just said, look, this is what I got to do. I got to kill all of them because they don't want to renewing of their mind. They don't want to change. Do we want to get eliminated altogether as African American businesses because or customers because we don't want to shop with each other because of the fact that we don't want to change the process and the way we do things around here? You know, I know in your business, like my business, and like I talk to a lot of other businesses, that we don't give each other a great chance in this community to be successful. You know, I have to go above and beyond what some of my competitors do in business to be successful in business. So I have to give away the discounts, and I have to give away the free this, and I have to really paint up a great picture for a lot of my own African American people to shop with me. And sometimes it's depressing to me, because it hurts me that I have to do so many different things, abundance of things, or people don't want to shop with you because you don't go out your way, you don't get a discount, you don't do this. When I go into a place of business, I don't go to them looking for the discount counter. I don't do that. I go in there and I shop with them. I look for some good customer service. I look for the good product that I'm looking for. And then after I'm through, I only do that with your business.
I'm glad. I was going to say, help him, Lord. Yeah. Help him, Lord. Help him, Lord. We plead the blood of Jesus on that lying demon.
Hey,
but you authorized.
Me and you do that.
But you authorized. You authorized.
You know, me and you do that because we can switch and we can.
We call that bartering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, and just us being able to shop with each other and be able to share with each other, because how important is it for us to be able to spread the African American black dollar?
Well, it's very important. The mindset, Sean, and I don't know for other races because I haven't experienced any other race, but I know what I've experienced not only here but in Texas is they don't want to make you rich. They rather make somebody rich that they don't have to see or that they don't personally know. It's twisted. And I tell you what, when I was in Texas, I belonged to a church that was about 1,500 strong. When I first went into business, I had a business partner. And we were so excited. We were going around the church asking people their favorite colors and suits and what size shoe they wear, because we just knew that if we could get them to shop with us, we had made it. We were both still in the military, and we were taking on this adventure. And so when we opened, they didn't come. And boy, I was shook. And I had the nerve to get mad. The Lord told me two things. Number one, don't you ever in your life get mad at where somebody spend the money that they work hard for. Who are you to dictate where they spend their money? That's their money. They spend it where they want to spend it. And number two, he said, the reason I allow them not to spend money with you because you'd have thought you was doing this. This is my vision. I gave you this vision, and I'm going to provide provision for it. So you know what he did? I had long zoot suits and red gator shoes, and he sent one Hispanic guy in there, and he wanted the red gator shoes. I even ordered him a bolo, and he brought his friends in there, and the business blossomed. And then when the church people saw that the business would blossom, then they wanted to get in join the bandwagon in, because they saw that I was blessed and highly favored. And you talk about this all. Everybody wants to be around a winner. Everybody wants to be around a winner.
Everybody want to be around a winner. Once that train get to rolling, then everybody will jump on the bandwagon. You know, some of your stories kind of sentiment some of the same things that I went through with shopping and people coming to shop with me. You know, I took out some ads with some churches and things of that nature. And a lot of those guys that I knew directly, they didn't come and patronize the business. And keeping it honest with the audience, and I used to do things like touchdown cuts. Everybody that knew they went to the penitentiary knew that they could come to Sean and get a free haircut. And the one thing about it, not just providing those guys with a way to come out here and look presentable for a job and to family and things of that nature, but I knew one of the backsides of it, I knew they was gonna go see everybody that particular day, that particular week, and they was gonna say, "Oh yeah, I got cut up by Sean, and yeah, he got my glamour looking good." And then that way, you know, one hand washes the other.
Word of mouth.
You know, fair exchange ain't no robbery is what we say in the hood. So it wasn't no robbery. So that was some guerrilla marketing tactics that I used to help me get started. No cost. You know, and a lot of times. You know, the Bible say you should give rather than receive. a lot of times we want to be on the receiving end, but we don't like it. It hurts to be on the giving side, you know. And so when I'm doing the service type thing and this, that, and other, I really want to be on the giving side. But at the same time, I kind of agree with you a little bit on what you said when you said, "Who am I to contest?"
Right.
But at the same time, I think that we should address.
Right.
We should address.
Well, we have to teach.
Yeah, and part of the teaching, even if it's tough, somebody got to be the leader and say, "Hey, look, I can't keep going 40 miles to Danville or 60 miles east of Champaign to go get products and services when I got my own brother and sister right here in the community that provide the same service or provide the same product."
And when you selling chicken dinners, they gonna come put the thing right on your post. They ain't gonna drive 60 or 40 miles to go put their chicken dinner sign up on nobody else's business. They come to yours. When their daughter's in the cotillion, they gonna knock on your brother Sean. Old Susie Q is in the cotillion now.
I got 10 of them right now. I got 10 of them right now of kids, young kids, and with great pictures, great write-ups on them. But I don't know them. You haven't brought them around in any youth program that I've been affiliated with. You haven't brought them into our barbershop to get a haircut, or when we had girls over here doing hairdos, maybe mom did come get a haircut. A lot of them I just don't know. And then a lot of them are sending. I think you should come in as a family and sit down and make that step when you do that. That way we can connect family, and I can kind of connect with a mom or a dad and that type of thing. So we can start at least establishing a relationship. Because relationships is what make the world
They
go
just
round.
want a quickie.
Dust don't bang me for $100. And then going about your business, then tore me off. Then you have a loved one pass away down the road, and you don't even look my way, or somebody might come in town and need a haircut, and then you send them somewhere else, or you don't even tell them that you even know anything about barbershop, because sometimes we keep secrets to ourselves. The best kept secret, we keep it to ourselves. We know old boy don't get down because we don't want to see dude riding like that. We ain't gonna shop like that. You know, we don't want to see Hub to come up too much. We want to limit. Well, you can't limit me.
You can't limit God.
You can't, because God in charge.
That's right.
I didn't get in this.
That's right.
Business is a faith walk.
Yes.
It's already started under the bar. To get in the funeral home business, they say you need $250,000 to even look at, to even enter that business. God made it allowed it where I started with just 10%. And majority of that was redevelopment money. What we're talking about right now, redevelopment. But the gracious thing about God is that He's seen people that seen us. He sent people that seen us hard at work trying to do something. And they came down while we was doing construction and said, "I want to do some pre-planning. I want to do some other things." And even in business in here, I didn't turn, a lot of the guys that came through, because a lot of times when we make it to a certain plateau, we start to get saved. We feel like we get saved. We start smelling. My mama say, "Smelling yourself." Start smelling ourselves. So then we start, everywhere we go, we want the environment to change. Okay? So when brothers was coming in here and they maybe went to a church or something, man, why you don't need to be watching no BET videos. You need to be having church music going and this, that, and this. Well, that wasn't my basis of the guys that had put me on. The basis of the guys that put me on was the ones that you said was no good. The ones that they looked down on. Those are some of the brothers that, and I stick with them brothers even to this day, because a lot of them brothers, maybe they didn't want to take a trip to the penitentiary. But the only person and the only phone number that stayed the same is the whip. And they know that they can talk to a friendly voice at the whip. And so they'll call me right to this day and say, "Hey man, I know it's been a couple years, just kind of checking in, want to see how everything going." Because a lot of these guys, however they severed their relationship with families, you know, because out of sight, out of mind with a lot of us. We even cut off family friends because they're out of sight, out of mind. So a lot of them that severed their relationships with family, that changed phone numbers. We're in this high-tech era where we change the phones every other week, and so they don't have no contact. But having some established in a community makes a difference.
That's right. This is the tower. In the military, we call it the tower.
Come on, man.
All roads lead to the tower.
Come on,
but I didn't want to interrupt you, but I call it the spirit of amnesia. You know, folks get the spirit of amnesia when they get a little something. They get the spirit of amnesia. But Paul said, I become all things to all men that I might win. Jesus said, y'all don't need no physicians. Y'all good. Y'all, let me go over here and work with the people who are not good. And so, I'm assigned to this city. I got some beautiful kids. I got one daughter here. She teaches Spanish. But my kids are in Texas. I got a daughter in law school, just got a 3.96 her first semester. And my baby girl, Queen, named after my mom, Queen Evelyn, is a junior, straight A, and wants to be a doctor. And my heart is there, and I've been trying to bargain with God to move back to Texas. But the Lord said, my assignment is here. And we have to sound alarm. One of the things that I'm getting better, I'm not going to speak that, but I'm getting better, is sounding the alarm with love. Because I'm a soldier. United States Army taught me how to soldier. And if you don't take that hill, son, you could be killed. So I need you to take that hill now. And so, but I ain't in the Army now. And so I got to digress and understand, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. Mm-hmm. But you got leaders that in the book of James, it say you look in the mirror, and then when you walk away the mirror, you forget what you look like. Mm-hmm. And we got leaders, I'm looking at the camera, we have leaders around here that don't even know who they are. They don't even believe the Malachi, the more you give, the more you receive. If they did believe it, they would be doing more giving and less receiving. And so I call that the spirit of amnesia.
You know, one of the things about when you said that, I thought about as a man thinking, so is he. Mm-hmm. So you totally off of what you think, mm-hmm. and you only as good as what you know. Mm-hmm. And so if you ain't been taught nothing, if somebody is playing Ring Around the Rosies mm-hmm. with you the whole time, you ain't learning nothing. Mm-hmm. So when I look at my community and as we go into that, I look at this community which I grew up in all my life. Right. But we took our stints to leave and go to the military and serve our country. Mm-hmm. And as we did that, even out of the military, we still learn how to PCS. We still got PCS in our spirit.
That's right.
Let's move it to another community.
Permanent change of station.
So you start doing that even on your own, off your own money.
That's right.
So I went to Atlanta a little bit.
That's right.
Then I left there and I went to California for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Then went to Colorado for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then, but if you keep on running from things mm-hmm. instead of establishing mm-hmm. yourself, mm-hmm. and I talk to a lot of young folks about establishing yourself. And then I talked to some of my friends and stuff that have moved from Champaign and that went to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Then most of them want to go down to Atlanta, to the land of milk and honey. Right. Ain't getting no milk or no honey.
No money. One bedroom, 9 people.
And I'm just keeping it real, because I stayed down there with a lot of the folks that's from Champaign down there. Want to be able to say the big thing that I'm staying in the ATL. Mm-hmm. But if you down at the Piggly Wiggly at the ATL, you could have did that in Champaign. And been around your loved ones. Mm-hmm. And built that family and held that family bond together. Because most of the time we see a lot of brokenness, a lot of broken families. And it comes from a lot of things, but we run from a lot of our issues. We don't want to address our issues, we want to run from them. So every time we have a community meeting with different stuff, we got leadership that bounce all around what the problem and the solution is because their motives ain't pure, first of all. And who are we trying to save? Are we really trying to save the souls? Are we really trying to make the person better than when we first ran into them? Where they can become, I told you a word earlier today, liberation.
Liberation.
A lot of countries that were in Africa, they wanted to be liberated. They wanted to be breaking away from what they was used to. All the dictatorship and the things of that nature. So a lot of times when we're entrepreneurs, we start our own businesses, and whether it fail or not, you got that faith mechanism to start your own. But a lot of times we're so dependent mode on businesses, and a lot of our military buddies got dependent on the military.
That's right.
That's why they couldn't get out, or they went back in because they were so comfortable with the lifestyle and the structure that the military allows you to have.
First, let me say this real quick, man. I just don't know what had happened if I wouldn't have got out of Champaign-Urbana. I don't think it was a good luck, but God can do anything. But I just think for me, it was a blessing for me to get out and go see several different countries. I almost been around the whole 50 states. And so I look through the eyes of some of these kids, and we got to do a better job at giving them the opportunity to get out of here. I'll never forget, Verdell Jones had Fort Sui, and in the early, maybe 2002, I brought 14 kids here from Texas, and so they, and 3 of them are overseas right now. I just was on Facebook today. One of them just got an overseas contract, but they came here and played, and when they went back,
they came to the restaurant.
They went to your restaurant, and so I remember Sean didn't want to give me a deal. We was bartering in. Sean didn't want to give me a deal. He had to get a whole meal. It was going to be $7, and so I had 14 kids and 2 adults. I said, Sean, what kind of deal? Man, ain't no deals. I said, okay, I guess we'll go to McDonald's. At least the bus driver eat free. Hold up, wait.
We got a deal.
And we had a deal. So we've been bartering a long time. But those kids went back, and I mean, those parents were so excited. Now, fast forward 2008, when I got the job at Central, I took a group of kids to Texas. Same thing for a tournament. And I never forgot, we went to the gas station the first time to pump to refill a gas, and one kid name was Kevin, and Kevin stayed in the van. I said, you all right, you got money? He said, yeah. I just want to thank you because I've never been out of Champaign. He broke down. And so those are things that are in the back of my mind, and I want my legacy. There's no success without a successor. If you lead and ain't nobody following, you just taking a walk. And so I want I'll die for mine. I'll die for what I believe in. And if the Lord done told me you ain't going nowhere until you help. I do have the answer. Jesus is the answer. But we have to do this. Ain't no one monkey got this thing. We need everyone to come to, all hands on deck is what they say in the Navy. We need everybody to come. Shame on us for the way our community is. I'll never forget when Keywan died, I said, I had been going to Meek's church because that's where I needed to see myself. I couldn't see myself in none of these churches. So me and my fiance at the time would travel to Chicago to Meek's, not every Sunday, but pretty regular. And so when Reverend Meeks came, Senator Meeks came here and spoke at Keywan before his funeral, Sean said, man, you said Meeks got 10,000 members, he ain't sound like nothing. Maybe we need to go there and start a church. I said, Sean, it ain't what he's saying in the pulpit, it's what he's doing in the community. And so we got a church on every corner, but look at our community. And we can't blame West Champaign or
City of Champaign.
We got to do what we can do. Yeah, we have to do what we can do. Now I'm gonna go on record as saying this: we need our own school. I've been in the school systems. I've been in the school in Texas, and it's not enough us in there. We got too many of our kids. Let me tell you something. It's a church here, and I ain't gonna bust them out, but they were bragging about having 50% African Americans in their church, and I told the pastor, well, according to my numbers in the military that I was taught when I went around inspecting organizations, if you got 50% of African Americans in your church, your administration should have 50%. He got so quiet, Sean, you could hear the rat licking ice.
But and I thought about that after you said it, and a lot of times, so many times we bring up the race relations in this community, and I played vital parts in the Keywan incident and a bunch of other incidents. We played, and a lot of times the other side is saying, well, why do we always bring up the race game? But on the flip side of it, because me and a few of my friends, we always talk always, and flipping the side with the race. What if it was the other way around? What if you was the pastor and then 50% of your congregation would be white?
Well, you know what? I asked the Lord for one thing. Well, really, I said, Lord, please let me pastor around the military or around a major college. Because my right hand to God, I want the church that I pastor, if God say the same, I want it to look like heaven.
Yeah.
I speak 5 different languages. Anya say, I see any Koreans out there? Yakimandu, Bulgogi. You know, I speak Korean. I speak a little Arabic, shway. You know what I'm saying? I was in El Paso for 8 years, so Bengal Key, Ketenga Wendia, you know. And I said, Lord, you didn't have me speaking, and I speak Ebonics. And so you didn't have me speaking all these languages for just to pass one race. You know what? Everywhere, the military, I can't even say the military. It was a newspaper when I was born in '64. So in '72, I got my first job. It was a newspaper called The Courier. Mm-hmm. Then, so The Courier is where I got on at. And then the News Gazette. Courier went out of business, and I got on with the News Gazette. Then I lied about my age and got hired at Jumer's at 14. But shout out to Yankee Ridge. Steve Schaefer is in the suburbs of Chicago, and we still keep in touch. Thank God for Facebook, because Yankee Ridge gave me a very diverse upbringing, and that's my foundation. And so the reason I say what I say about the schools, because we don't have, Sunday morning is the most segregated time in the country. Sunday morning between 11 and 1. And people go where they feel comfortable at. So what makes you think the kids feel any different? You got a 25-year-old white female trying to teach a 16 or 17-year-old black male, and she really scared of him. Mm-hmm. So how do you go? I'm telling you what I know. Mm-hmm. It was the same way in El Paso. It's just not here. So how are you gonna teach him? How are you going to teach somebody that you're afraid of? And you might have a legitimate reason. But you might have a legitimate reason to be scared of him. But we got to agree that you can't teach someone that you're scared of.
You know, and that's what segued us to getting SRO officers inside the school system. So that developed a lot of that, because it's hard to teach somebody that you're afraid of, or that in the military we called it untrainable. Untrainable. Untrainable.
Yes,
we get a soldier in, and what happens? One bad apple will spoil a whole bunch. Old folks used to say. And so what we did, we'll have a soldier. We might be as untrainable. We out process because of a lack of space. We might be getting a new soldier in, and then he bunking with the bad soldier. The next thing you know, we got 2 bad soldiers we out processing because the new guy then became the old guy. And that's why I never could understand our penitentiary system, because of the fact that how do you put a guy that's in there for a DUI offender in there with a murderer?
Bad juju.
Bad chemistry altogether. One guy, he might be working good and raising a family good. Maybe alcohol is his problem, something that's legal. Alcohol is his problem. He just over abusing it, and he driving. But then this other guy, he don't care about the law. He's snuffing people's lives out, and you put that chemistry mix together. Now he drinking and killing folk. So it's hard to put a bunch of spirits together like that. And I'm a spiritual guy. I was raised up in a Pentecostal church, so I believe in different spirits, and I don't want everybody praying for me, putting their hands on me. I'm real particular on that. So just don't walk up to me trying to grab me on the forehead. I'm not with that. You know what I'm saying? I like to be connected with the person that's going to be my spiritual leader, my spiritual advisor. And so, but in saying that, we started a program down here called BLT. And I got it from you. You came back several times, and you started saying, hey man, we did this program over there in Texas, and it was in Iraq.
It started in Iraq.
Yeah, and Iraq, and it's called Brothers Let's Talk.
Brothers Let's Talk.
Brothers Let's Talk. And I felt as though it was such a great program that we started doing it right down here in the barbershop. Don't have much space, but let's utilize the space and the stuff that I'm already paying for. Don't cost us nothing. A lot of times we got our own resources. We don't want to open up our door for it. We don't want to, it ain't our problem, it ain't our issue. It will become your issue if you keep ignoring the issue. And so many of our small issues been so ignored by leadership that it became big major issues now. Because they became big kids now that's called big grown people now that's running around with pistols now. And they don't care about ministers or any leader, because we just seen a minister get stuck up a couple of days ago.
Right.
So it is your problem. But what BLT was doing was addressing the young people with their issues and attaching them with grown people that's been through the same road that they going through and that had those issues. And one of the most powerful things I seen at BOT one day when we was down here is when I seen a young brother start talking about his life and what he was going through and his brokenness and his unhealedness. And then I seen an older brother started, I mean, just a flow of tears coming down his face.
Yes, sir.
Because he's seen himself in that young man. Because not only that the young man hadn't got healed, you dealing with an old man right now that still ain't been healed. All the church services, all the giveaways or whatever we didn't provide it still didn't reach that man.
And you know what? BLT was accountability that we did in Iraq, all the men to keep strong. We all have families back. And Sean, when we started here, it was 8 people the first time. And within less than a month, it was 100 people. Well, the smart guys didn't like that. And they were able to come between me and Sean for a season and break that up, because what Sean didn't understand at that time, I was new, so Sean had the credibility, I had the vision, so together it was a perfect hit. But the smart guys came in and saw money, and so they began to creep in, and they had hidden agendas and ulterior motives. But here we are, right back, banded brothers, and it's gonna happen again. It might be called Not On My Watch. That's a commercial. And so, but it's going to happen because, as he forestated at the beginning, we have like minds. And one of the most important characteristics you have to have as a leader is compassion. And that's one thing that I know that we have in common, because he's very instrumental in me moving back to Champaign-Urbana. He worked on me every time I came home. Every CU day I came home, he planted those seeds, and planted those seeds, and he planted those seeds. And so when things stopped going the way I wanted them to go in Texas, all the seeds that he had planted began to blossom. And so it's going to happen, because it's no way, I don't have a lot of time for no games. I'm out of mess ups. So I don't have time to be marking time, which is marching in place for those who not military. I don't have time. I don't have time to be laughing if it ain't funny. I don't have time to be scratching if I don't itch. I don't have time to be pissing on people and telling them it's rain. Death is right around the corner for us all. Jesus is coming back, but you might leave before he come back. And so I asked the Lord, can I leave? He said, no. We gonna influence. You gonna get with a team of people who are gonna influence that whole community, not just the black, the African Americans, but the community as a whole, because we are community. And community is not one color. Community is an array of colors, you know. And so it's so many people that he know that I don't know, and we all come together and move forward.
You know, when that breakup was kind of happening with the BLT program, a lot of our educated brothers, you know, they come in and they start seeing where they can write their dissertations, and they can start applying for all this grant money, and then we cut and dry. We just cut and dry. We trying to heal. We trying to heal the folks that's walking by my door.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all it was.
We just trying to heal the people that keep walking up and down this street. Don't snatch no more purses. Come on in here, man. Let's talk to you and find out why you snatching purses.
Now catch this real quick. Let me add this in there. We had a couple of entrepreneurs, and I'm not gonna put them on blast, but they was fighting over who was gonna buy the chicken. They both were so engaged in what was happening here. They were literally not fighting, but jockeying over who was going to provide the food. Because they saw that it was pure and it was genuine concern and it was needed. The enemy stepped in. I'm not even going to blame it, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So I'm not even going to tag a person's name to it. The enemy crept in. And the crazy thing is, we never fell out as we still kicked it. We just didn't do the BLT thing, you know.
And ultimately, what it affects ultimately, it hurt the kids.
It hurt the kids.
It hurt the kids.
It hurt the kids.
And that was the most important ingredient to the whole program was the kids. So as we don't address things and as we put them all off, then we just open the womb up a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and then we always play this blame game, who's at fault. I done been at a lot of these tables around in this community, and you know I have, so a lot of you leaders out there know I done been at the table, and I done seen a lot of our folk don't even tell y'all what the real key issue is. And I used to miss the meetings. I wasn't into all this community stuff and all this here. You know, I thought I let the smart folks handle it.
Right.
You know, God, that ain't my place.
Right.
I ain't there yet.
Right.
You know, that type of thing.
Right.
But I want to let all y'all know we all there because we all a part of this community.
Right.
I thought that those other guys were the leaders.
Right.
And A-Dub told me one day, he said, "Man, you the leader."
Right.
It's some leadership in all of us.
Right.
You got to tap into it. It's some faith walkness in all of us, but you got to tap into it. You got to be able to let God utilize you. You know, one thing that had kept us bound, and what I don't see a lot in this community, because I seen a sister earlier today. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. I was out by your shop, but she looked me dead in my face. And I'm the type of person, if you make eye contact with me, I'm a wave or hey or how you doing, ma'am? And it don't make no difference to me whether you're black or white or whatever the color is. I'm gonna speak because that's just the respectful thing to do. And so, but the one thing that we have established is love. When I see you, I love you. When I see I love you.
If you hurt, I hurt.
If you hurt, not hurt.
Yes.
If your business suffering, then I gotta come up with a comprehensive plan on how we gonna get you back on. You know, we got to come up with a way to put you back in the box. So I don't. But so many times, and this go back to me, and I'm gonna let you get in here, Hub. So many times, we won't pump you up. We'll rather pull you down. We won't say the good things about Brother Hub, but let Brother Hub mess around and do something that wasn't so good. We'll put that all around town. You know what I'm saying? That's something bad. And so what? And a lot of times, and this one of the things that was put in my spirit when I was talking about the people from out of town. One of the things that allowed me to do around here, because what God wants to do is God wants to get the glory out of whatever you do.
Yes, sir.
And so He'll take us through a lot of mess, a lot of hurdles, especially if we being hard headed and don't want to listen to the writing that's on the wall. And take the long way around when you could have took the shortcut and listened to a wise man. You wouldn't have to take that long and all them bruises. So, but what He allowed me to do is all the naysayers that was able to say, Sean, you least likely to succeed. Sean, you ain't going, or you are Williams. You are this, you are that. Well, God wants to show up and show out in front of all them. So then He understands, especially when you start giving Him all the praise afterward, because He want to see that victory. He want to hear your testimony. And so that's what it does for me. You know, a lot of them guys might not feel like that, that have moved on to other communities. I just felt like it's better to come back and add those talents that the military brought to us, you know, that we received wholeheartedly, and then give those back to our own community.
Well, that was God's plan in the beginning. I mean, we didn't know it. We just thought we was going to the military. But that was part of our training, equipping us to come back and let these kids know that I come straight out of Dunbar Court and there's a more excellent way. I speak 5 languages. Now, I didn't live in Dunbar Court, but my grandmama did, and I was right in Ellis Drive, and there wasn't none between us but an alley. But I want to say this, going back to the BLT, the thing that the devil messed up about is we knew it worked.
Oh, yeah.
We knew that genuine concern worked. So we have the answer. And so even these people with all these not-for-profits that's checking the block and make sure that their checks keep coming, but they don't have no influence on the community. They're not doing anything to change what's happening. They just getting a free check. Let me tell you something, and I'm gonna look at the camera on this. The God that I serve would never go to Popeyes. I'm gonna use Popeyes because Popeyes is hot right now. God would never go to Popeyes and order $100 worth of chicken and not pay for it. What am I saying? I'm saying that the vision of BLT was not my vision. It was God's vision. And he's going to provide provision. I already got the answers to the test. I don't need to stress. All I need to do is they that wait up on the Lord, he shall renew their strength. And I'm not waiting like this. I'm waiting like a servant at Red Lobster. And so a change is coming. We got a new coaching staff when I was in El Paso, and our theme song was, "It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's in there behind the sky. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come." And I believe that. I believe that with all my heart. Champaign-Urbana will never be the same. The hand of God gonna be put on this place, and you're gonna get right or you're gonna get left. And these pastors and leaders and ministers that's I call them Dennis Rodmans, because right now Dennis Rodman all over Korea, he ain't my ambassador, you know. And who anointed you to be ambassador for us, man? You ain't my ambassador. Well, we got a whole lot of Dennis Rodmans around here that self-proclaim themselves ambassadors, and they're misrepresenting the people, just like Dennis Rodman is misrepresenting us. But let me tell you this about ego. We've been trained, Sean. That's why the enemy had to come in, because they knew our motives was pure. Wasn't no ego in this thing. And so America has set us up, Will, because we call the Miami, and I'm a Heat fan, but we call the Miami Heat the world champs. But how can they be the world champs and Japan didn't play and Zimbabwe didn't play? You know, we talking about the World Series. That's our little World Series. Even America is a legend in its own mind. And the Bible tells us not to think of ourselves more highly than we ought to, because there's pride before a fall. But I'm telling you right now, a change is coming. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. It's just, I'm out of mess ups.
One of the business I'm in is funeral home business, and it's such a great and passionate and a learning business. You know, I constantly learn from each and every family that we serve, because each family is different. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I see that's similar in mostly all of them is that the death ain't for the deceased. It's for the people.
Woo!
It's for the people that's left behind. So
where my Bible?
So that glue. So that glue that's missing, you're going to miss that glue. You know, that important person that used to take care of you all the time, you're going to miss that person. That person that woke up and gave you that smile that motivated you in the morning, you'll miss that person. That person that you trampled over, that you didn't respect, you're going to miss that person. So, and God removes things that you take advantage of. So, or if you in the way, sometimes you in the way. And God got to make some change. He's been trying to get your knucklehead self to change for a long time, but you ain't changed. You're stubborn. So what he got to do is get you out the way. So you know, I know God is coming back, but it seems to me, Brother Hub, these the views and opinions of Sean. He handpicked some of them way before they probably should even roll out, because of the fact that disobedience and things of that nature. Are you, you know, what are you showing the people? I feel as though, this is the views and opinions of Sean. I feel as though a leader without a hookup ain't a leader at all. If you hurt, and here I am supposed to be the leader, and I got the resources, and I can't provide them to you, well, I'm not your leader, because when I came to you and asked you for the help, you couldn't give me no assistance. So, as I had a young lady call me today and say, "Hey, Sean, I need public service work." Well, baby, I can't do public service work because I'm a profit business. But I got a friend over here at the Whoop Wop the Band, and I also got another friend over here, and they really need your volunteers, and that's Pastor Irvin Williams over here, because he got a great project going on with rehabilitating, redeveloping them, as we talking about. He retraining their mindset, he clothing them, he feeding them, and he can really use the volunteer help. So tell him I sent you. So as she go over there for what the devil meant for bad, God gonna change it all around for the
sir.
good.
Yes, sir.
See, but we got to see, people so that they can see themselves going to a whole nother level. Because a lot of times when they come talk to us, they don't see what we see in them.
That's right. That's right. I want to say this. When I watched the brother Will setting up, I asked him one question. Are you prepared to do all the editing on my sermon so we can just hand it to TBN? And I meant that with every fiber in my body, because I know where I'm going. No weapon formed, fried, baked, or microwave would prosper. The Lord showed me before I even got on the plane to go Iraq. I said, Lord, I'm a little apprehensive. He said, for what? Man, I got work for you to do that you can't do over here. You can't do if you come back in the body bag. I got 5,000 members waiting on you. We waiting on you. And so when I saw the brother doing what he do in his craft, the Holy Spirit said, man, that's your TBN guy. Ain't no sense of paying TBN $1,000 a slight every sermon you sit in there. That's your guy right there. That's going to be in-house. Why pay they people when you can empower your people? And he empowering all these young teenagers around here.
You know,
Teamwork, I know it's corny, but teamwork makes the dream work. If you don't have structure, then you have destruction.
You know, one of the things about it, what you said, teamwork, and you talked about empowering Will and helping him and his family, you know what I'm saying? Because Will got a family, you know, I got a family. There's some more younger brothers under them that's developing young families.
Yes, sir.
And if we can put them on.
Yes, sir.
And what's that called? That's called employees.
That's right.
Okay. And so that's called employees. So one of the things about it is that in one of my business, I probably got about 15 contracted people that work for me.
Right.
Okay. And so one of the young sisters went to her particular pastor and said, well, look, how can I pay more tithes and how can I take care of my family if you keeping all your referrals going to Danville?
That's right. That's right.
I gotta take care of my family.
That's right.
She was like, Sean employed 5 of us over here at this particular church.
Right.
But you sit in the business somewhere else.
That's right.
How can I be able to, I need this money that Sean paid me, but I cannot operate to pay her some wages that we not receiving.
That's right.
So teamwork make the dream work. One hand washes the other. So we all need each other, but we all got to see that, and we got to do it in love. Because a lot of times, if I'm eating, I don't care if nobody else eats.
That's right.
And that's what a lot of us then got to this so selfish mindset.
That's right.
If I'm doing good, I don't need. Okay, so what that makes me feel like, okay, then I go into stick-up man mode and think like the stick-up man. Well, they the only ones over here doing good, and I robbed him 10 times already. He got nothing else. So where they gonna go next? To the man that's doing good.
That's right.
So we should try to make sure that we spread some crumbs all around to everybody. Let everybody eat good.
That's right.
That's where the love
and
comes
it got
in.
to come from the pulpit.
That's where the love come in at. Because the love come in when I used to try to get connected. I didn't know anybody when I got back to Champaign because people didn't grew up and stuff like that. So we working on another generation. But what I used to do is I used to stop around and I would meet the brothers on the block. All around the hood, I'd meet the brothers on the block. You know, and back then, I'm keeping 100 with it. Back then, I had little brew or something, and they said, "Sean, you got another one of them? Oh, here, man, go ahead. Oh, man, that's a cool brother, man." Because they had dealt with so many selfish people in their life. There's something like a cold beer was so major to somebody. You know, when it was a little thing, it's the little things that mean so much. But it opened up the door where I could show them a little bit of love and then sit back and talk to them. And so as you were saying about your church and speaking it into existence, once I did get into my barbershop chair, I was telling them, I'm gonna get me a barbershop. And then I could hear some of them going down the steps. What's Sean doing? He up there talking that barbershop talk again.
Right.
But you have to speak a thing into an existence and work on it at the same time.
That's right. You got to see it, man.
You got to be able to work on it. So a lot of them nights where everybody else was juking and hopping and popping, I was in the architect chamber writing the blueprint down.
That's right.
When I used to talk to Darren and Luther and D, I say, man, are y'all going to the fraternity thing they got going on the campus tonight? Everybody been talking about it, been coming through the barbershop. They said, no, man, we trying to go to the league. We going to the oven.
Right. And shoot
Now,
some jump shots.
we going to shoot some jump shots and free throws and some layups and work on our game. Then we'll catch them later. And that's what helped them be successful to make it to the league. You got to be willing to work on your program if that's where you're trying to go.
That's right.
Other than that, it's just nothing but talk.
Right.
It's nothing but talk.
Right.
And I run into so many people that have nothing but talk. You know, you don't see them working on that. They're not going to no library. You know, and the internet is full of stuff. You know, social. We was talking earlier about social media. Social media is a great outlet for business. You know, for business people to get their information out there. But so many people, because a lot of us have not addressed the people that's connected with us. So they don't get to pour out and get the therapeutic therapy that they need. So now we venting on Facebook. So anything go wrong with our life, we tell it to Facebook. Now how many other friends we got, hear all this outpour of a bunch of dysfunctionality is what I call it. And it's all over Facebook. If your baby daddy did you wrong, then I got to tell Facebook. You know, if my tire busted and I did this, I got to tell it to Facebook. Look, man, it's rough out here. You know, watch your tire pressure.
Right.
And get on the highway.
Right.
Make sure you bring your coat.
Right.
It's a good place to kind of buddy and be friends with people, but you don't have to hang out all. My mama say, don't hang out all your dirty laundry. So in that aspect of using social media, it ain't such a great thing. But as far as you connecting with a guy from Yankee Ridge or me connecting with a sister that I didn't know knew way back then, and I could reconnect and redevelop that relationship, because we talking about redevelopment now. That's establishing a relationship with somebody that bring you closer back together. And so, and we need everybody, whether, I might need a contact down in Atlanta, I might need a contact in Virginia or somewhere for something that we're trying to do. And so it's always good to kind of reconnect. And so that's good about keeping that avenue open, keeping that door open, because you don't want to burn no bridges. I don't burn no bridges. I always want to be connected,
Relationships.
It's about relationships in this community. I thank the Lord for the relationship that I had after the Keywan Carrington incident, that I had a good relationship with the city manager, that I had developed a great relationship with the city manager. And what you talked about earlier is about being able to go to that school and being able to be a part of that process of Centennial. I was able to sit down and have a meeting with the city manager and show him the vision and made it plain to him. Look how great it'd be to have an Anthony Cobb that went to Centennial to be able to go back and now mentor kids at Centennial and say, I'm the chief of police of city of Champaign.
That's right.
Great prestigious job, but I sat in that seat right there, and I had the troubles that you had.
That's right, and they know it's possible for them.
And it's possible. But if the leadership never go back and tell those kids that, then they'll come that climb that hard struggle, and it's going to take them all the way around where they always be labeled least likely to succeed.
The scripture says, Jesus told Peter, Simon, Simon, Satan desires to have you that he may sift you as wheat, but I've prayed for you, not that you wouldn't fail, because before the cock crow, you're going to deny me thrice, so I know you're going to fail, but I've prayed that your faith fail thee not. And then he went on and said, and when you are converted, strengthen your brother. So I already know you're going to come through it, but when you come through it, I don't need you to get amnesia. I need you to strengthen your brother. And so when people see that it's possible, then to do what they do, then they can go ahead and strengthen the next person. Somebody to do it.
So, one of the good things about it, when you talk about that story and about strengthening your brother, don't worry about that. Strengthening your brother, we got to be our brother's keeper. We got no other choice about that. And I thank the Lord for me and you to be able to work side by side on doing that. And about even empowering to do this program tonight, to be able to empower the people that we're talking to, the viewers that's out there. Because we don't want, I'm not trying to hurt nobody or take nobody, and we're not trying to do that. We want to give you a pick 'em up so that you can apply the principles and some of the things we're talking about to be better. Because if God did it for us, he can do the same thing.